I'm just waiting to leave the building. I'm going to wait.
Well, I gotta have this, I'm gonna tell you, I gotta go sit in the deal this afternoon, training at 1:30 to 3:30, so.
What's the training?
The new gravity software that the new budget software, sorry. There's one of them today. Well, for me, since in that group, there's some trainings that not the whole crowd's getting in on, but yes. There's. Thank you. That's Bancorp does that. Not for public accounts. Commissioners. That's got to go back to these folks, Ben Rosenberg. Do you want to copy this? That's pretty amazing. Aaron will go back to 30. Aaron will hospital Sunday night. Just maybe. It goes there, not feeling too good. It starts to feel better when it gets there. It's significant. He's trying to get out of there. So stay home so you get a diagnosis. You got him room problems. And then yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Man, I see.
We want third, 40,
No, early 30s.
early
He's
30s.
got to be in the early 30s, maybe mid 30s. Yeah. So, but he's doing good now. He's feeling good. I said, you don't care how you feel, don't come back to work until next Monday. Just. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to call this meeting back to order from recess. Forgive me, I'm a little beyond the 10 minutes I initially imagined. Let the record reflect that it is 10:10 a.m. It's still the 12th day of July 2022. This is a continuation of a meeting that we started this morning at 8:30 a.m. At this time, budget workshop, everybody's favorite topic because it's that time. So what do we got, ladies and gents?
I would suggest everybody and money for their traveling.
So that's a good point.
In addition to
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, oh yeah, the state mileage.
the hotels and they're gonna make it.
Oh, okay.
One of the things we fell over at San Antonio is the they leave first or off.
Yeah.
You check in and you see, you know.
Clean
wait
up.
for another service to that.
Well, sometimes if you're traveling in the group, sometimes they're really cheap.
I don't know, we looked at that when we were on that vacation up north, and where we it looked like it's cheaper, and then you have all these fees they have. Like I'm waiting, you have much of the room too, but get, but again, you know,
You're so long, but
okay, I can see that.
Well, I guess looking at this in general fund, most everybody is, around 78%. Like use around 70% of the budget, which is, it's pretty well on target. 75%. We haven't paid all the June bills yet. So we're looking pretty good in general. On fuel, we're running over. I've sent everyone that was on the fuel man, I sent them their usage. So what kind of usage, should we use to estimate? Of course, we've got this year, we look at the past 12 months as an indicator of the usage, and then what kind of dollar price we're going to factor in for fuel.
I think it's gonna have to go up, and I think we factored in less than $4 a gallon for gasoline and the diesel, about $4 a gallon last year, if I recall, roughly, not exactly. But, we saw almost $6 a gallon diesel this year almost, and then it got 5+ in some places for fuel. I don't know if that's a high water mark, or are we gonna come back down, but we're gonna see that again? How do we responsibly budget for that? And is there a happy medium that we can agree on? Should we budget for $4 gas, budget for $4.50 gas? I mean, some intake.
off-road fuel has been running at 433 to 475. That's just for off-road.
Yeah.
And then there's, we have some policies in place, I don't know that we're following them, on taking vehicles.
We need
Still
to be.
doing those, I think we could tighten it on people that have taken vehicles. That maybe don't need them if they're not on call for emergency purposes.
Well, the policy for the commissioner's board was, the commissioner and one foreman, got to take vehicle loan. If it was gonna be beyond that, that it needed approval of the commissioner's board. Now, we adopted that before any of you guys were here. That's been a long time. So if that was back the last time we got a fuel crunch, we started adopting those policies. Same thing for the sheriff's office. We limited the number of people taking vehicles home. And so those things we got to start looking at again. That's reasonably rational. We probably need to do so. Looking at our budget expectations, revenue, the sales tax is up, but a lot of indicators seem to point that we're about to go into a recession, which would say sales tax is probably going to go back down. From FY21 to FY22, we collected an additional $375,000 in change in additional ad valorem taxes. And there's some other sources of revenue out there, grants, things like that, that aren't very consistent. So it's not like that we're going to see a whole bunch of new revenue coming into the coffers this next year. And I've already got some requests for some sizable items, personnel. And I guess one of the biggest concerns I have right now is inflation running at over 8%. That we gave a 3% cost of living increase last year, but we're going to have to do something more than that this year. But put the numbers together, look at a 4% COLA, 5% cost of living increase for every employee in the county, and my rough figures come up a little over 440,000. So I've got 375 in new revenue in ad valorem, and just to do a 5% COLA looks to be about 440,000. So this is the reason I want to start having these conversations now, that we're going to have a lot of asks. We have a lot of needs because we're growing. I know everybody needs more than they're getting. I know we're not paying employees market rates because we're losing employees left and right. The jail down in McLennan County just announced, I think, 5% and then another 5% to 10% in the next 4 months. They're going to go up. We don't have the resources to compete with that. So we're going to have to get smart and figure out how we're going to do it. I can't just bump pay to maximum employment or Ellison Johnson. The tax rate won't go that high, and I'm willing to do it any way that would. Anything that we propose over a 3.5% increase, again, that's an automatic rollback. It's not a petition, it's an automatic election. That's going to cost you $35,000, $40,000 for election, and I'm willing to bet that election won't pass. So you're going to spend that money. So I think that understanding the parameters that we're working in first is going to be very important. And I get everybody has needs. I'm not saying anybody's needs aren't relevant, they're not rational, they are. But we have limitations on our income, and figuring out how to reallocate money each year is one of the hardest parts about this job. Anything we do from this end, it's not personal business. We're competing all requests against each other, and where do we need to allocate funds versus where can we get the funds from. So what I'm hoping to do with this today is start a series of conversations amongst everybody in this room. What's important to everybody? What do we need to be focusing on? And what do I need to be including? Man, my phone is blowing up this morning. Usually I'm not this popular. So with that being said, I didn't give you that speech to tamp down the enthusiasm in the room. I simply gave it to everybody to know the position I'm starting at and what I'm looking at and what Susan's looking at. Rhonda's right now working with the folks from ANCO, thank you. As the insurance folks, we've gone out for an RFP and they are looking at what our options are going to be on insurance. So I don't have any numbers to give you at the moment. I seriously doubt we're going to see negative numbers because it's happened one time in all these years. So there will be some increase there to have to factor in. I've heard both, some people like Aetna, and I've heard a lot of people that don't go for insurance. Okay, so you're in the second group, got it. Yes, ma'am. So that being said, there's a good chance they won't be our insurance company. I don't know what the numbers look like yet, though. We'll take action on those in the next commission report. So that's 2 weeks today. So we've got a lot of decisions to make in a short period of time. Questions, commentary, requests. Don't be afraid to speak up. Look, I'm never going to get anybody mad at anybody for asking. If you got to ask, ask.
I need to upgrade some equipment, motor graders. My motor graders are 15 years old now, and they're still working, but I'm not gonna go in debt $300,000-400,000 for a motor grader I'll get by with what I've got. But, road and bridge, that we got 300 miles and 5 to 6 employees that we can't carry any more than that, but we're shorthanded on that.
Amen. Yeah.
And I hope Road and Bridge or FM lateral does increase a little bit this year to help us out.
I hope so. I know you guys took an additional 0.5% out of the general fund 2 years ago because of funding issues that we sent to you guys. And we've attempted to manage with that 1.5% less. And I know, 0.5% don't seem like a lot, but it adds up pretty quick. Judge, you were saying.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to start a discussion on how all the fees and costs. In reference to the salary. Traditionally, these constable office have been paid less than other. And so we're, as a united group, all of us, these constables, we come together and have a discussion. And we would like to begin a discussion with you guys in light of everything that I've already said. But in actually are paid to what the other. Right now, we're at about
$12,000.
$12,000. We make versus
Right.
the other. We've had some discussions, like I said. Like every other thing in the county, the population is increasing, our caseload are increasing, papers are increasing. This is one of the first times that we've ever had where all of our constables and all of the MPs are all working together. You're doing their jobs. I've had this discussion for many years in the past with Lewis. And there was no way to bring it forward. When we didn't have. Now we have people doing their jobs, and so we'd like to do an open dialogue. I've got all my JPs, all my constables, step one. He's doing some business over at Huron right now. But he, as far as I know, is in agreement with Huron.
I recommend it.
Yeah. Oh, he did. So that's kind of where we're going to begin. See what we can.
Good. Appreciate you opening the conversation. I appreciate it. I want to point out that they're not kidding. What the JPs and constables are doing is far beyond anything they did 4 years ago. Just 4 years ago. They're taking these offices to new places, they're taking on things, they increase jurisdiction. The JPs 2 years ago, they're 20,000, is all increase. The constables are serving more papers than we've ever served. Everybody saw that one. They in the papers, all the backlogs are out of the way. They're doing the jobs, and they're doing a lot more than they did just a few years back. And Judge Brazel has a strong point. They are paid $12,000 less than the next. That as a group, they're all paid the same figures, but they're paid $12,000 less than the next county official. And in fairness, as much work as they're doing, is that a fair way to deal with this? Now, to raise everybody in $12,000 is a little over $90,000 again. Because it's over 90,000, it's not just 12, it's also the, so the conversation.
Plan is it's coming in, yeah.
That's
I would like to say in there that it's, that the JP, Chevy, they're almost coming out. Operators, we see them all. And maybe, yeah, I would be, I'm finding it.
Thank you for that.
Getting all of that as well. Maybe it takes some.
You got it.
Yeah. 2 years ago, in budget, I asked 5% plus. Last year, that's 6.
Pretty consistent for you, I know this last, I'm sorry.
And I get it. In terms of accounting more largely in mass and small population. It is very difficult for us to be. I would like you guys to consider the fact that I get whatever the poll is going to be across the board. I understand the concept, but at the end of the day, what the deputies and jailers are doing day in, day out, you can't compare what the rest of the day have during their work day. And so, at least like you guys consider the fact that there's that argument that yes, they are all county employees, but the inherent risks that are associated with their job. That maybe sometimes when we ask for a little bit more. Maybe look at. Granted, that was.
And I understand your position, don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with you, they put their life on the line on a regular basis, we've had, in the last couple of years, we've had. High speed pursuits of people trying to save lives, wrecked out, 100 miles an hour, we've had shootings, we've had, you name it. And the bigger issue, not bigger, but along with that, I should say, is that. The hiring problems we're seeing are not unique to us, it's all law enforcement. So those neighbors of ours with more resources have drastically upped their prices of what they're willing to pay. And we haven't been able to keep up because again, we take 3.5% we can legally take. We still don't have enough income to do what we need to do, absent making some other choices to rearrange things. It's becoming very hard, if not dang near impossible, to recruit law enforcement with experience, with any kind of training background, because the pay is so much lower than, the counties to our north and to our south. I'm not talking about Navarro or Bosque, but Johnson, Ellis, and McLennan. And a large part of that's geography of our circumstances, but yeah, well, I get it. We need to do something.
Well, and last year, they updated, that. No. The economy. The pitch that I made, get going with 3 papers that, basically shut up. And
That's just 25% we're gonna get, you say what you want to.
And so, you said next year we're focusing on. And I think across all counties, there are tests,
Agreed.
and so, I hate, you guys can. But at the end of the day, our county employees, that's what makes, living in this county, a good thing. And we need to invest. There are going to be something in it, companies coming in, they're going to be paid more. We all know about this. And we are going to lose people to those establishments as well as the other competing counties. And I think we need to plan for that. We have a couple of years before they're here, but there's no time.
I agree. It's like what we did a couple of years ago, not to get tip of the hat here, but last year we got 375 new revenue. And salary alone, the sheriff's office took 337,000 of that because we implemented the pay for you guys. The rest of the county didn't get that. No one else in the county got that extra pay for extra training, just you guys. And so we poured tons of money. In the last 10 years, we poured an additional $2.5 million, I believe, into y'all's department. No one else has got anything like that around here. And so it's the equity of, yeah, man, I understand your position, I get it, and I agree they're low paid, but I also have the rest of the county to balance. It's not a defense, it's an explanation of what I've done. So at the same time, I'm on with you. What I said last year to opponents, we need to focus on county employees. I just didn't anticipate an 8.1% inflation cost. That I can't get the 8%. I can't figure out a way to get the 8% without letting some positions go. And I just don't see anybody on board with that. I don't think we can afford to. That being said, I've had some requests for new positions, and across the board, I've had to say at this point, I don't see it. I'm not telling you no, I just can't figure out how to make the math work to get from here to there and still take care of priorities. And again, that's really the reason I want to have this, because there's other ideas. Budget guru, I guess the guy that puts the numbers together that help with the auditor and treasurer. But yeah, if we've got ideas of how we can make this work, we can figure out, pencil some numbers in and say, okay, this is how much we need to make this idea work. And great, let's see it together and figure out how we can make it. But it all comes out of the same pool. So we're going to take care of 26 elected officials in their offices out of that one pool of money. Yeah, these guys have the effing model. It's some money, that's great, but they also get 8%, 8.5% of the general fund. Off the top, indigent defense gets 8%. I'm sorry, indigent health, it's 8% of the general fund. We've seen increase, actually decreases last year, but court appointed attorneys. I suspect that's going to go back up again in October, out of the West. I assume family law, civil matters, and such. These are all kind of things that we're seeing. Thank goodness the legislature will be in session this time. So maybe the unfunded mandates will be a little less than they are. But we really need to find solutions to some of these problems. And I know no one's ever happy with my budget. I get it. I'm okay with that. It's not personal. I'm never happy with it either.
You can only do what you can do with it.
I agree. This year, though, I want to come up with before I follow, but what can we come up with solutions and work together and you guys are 12 low JPs and constables. Maybe I can't get to 12, but if I can get to 6, is that a happy medium? Is that a move in the right direction?
They do need an increase. I've looked at it for the last 7 years, and they are the lowest paid elected officials.
At the busiest judges you got down, no offense to Judge Harris, Judge Crane and myself, but look, a large majority of your interaction with the judge, is going to be at the JP level in this county, straight out. I mean, that's what it is. And not only that, these guys go out and they rotate every day. I don't get people. It's nothing personal. It's just my take. And I don't like going out on the weekends, like the weekends, and go find them. These guys do this on a regular basis. And I'm encouraging those of you that are JPs, look, I appreciate what you're doing for the taxpayer. You've got training mileage for reimbursement for a reason. I mean, it's not you guys have got to start putting in the reimbursement request.
We've had that.
And I appreciate
And it came to light when it's working.
Yeah.
But for instance, 3 weeks ago, we had 7 deaths.
Yeah.
None of those happened. And so that's taxing on us. So, and then it's taxing on all that.
You guys, we know we've doubled that budget and it's still not gonna do nothing like that.
Yeah, and with the increase in population, we talk about this every week. It's like we're beating that horse. And that's happening and we're having a this for, and it doesn't feel like we're getting compensation yet. Maybe in years we will get compensation for that inflation population, but right now. Like I said, we're over this.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I think you guys can get together and come forward like you did. It makes it easier for me to have these conversations. And I know you guys are going to meet with the sheriff's office. We need to talk about that. They need in jail. We need to talk about that. I know you guys are going to meetings. I guess I could hold my breath and hope that we're going to be some miracle of miracles. We're going to see a whole lot of new construction. And I actually do anticipate a larger number, but we've not got those numbers yet. They're not legally, the appraisal district is not legally required to provide that to us until the 27th of this month. Some years they're a month early. Some years like this, everybody out there contested the appraisal. You should get nothing to lose. So if they finish up the ARB work and get us certified numbers, we'll have a better idea of what that actually looks like. In talks with Susan, I know we budgeted $2.1 million for sales tax last year, and we've collected 2.9. Forgive me, I misspoke. And we've collected to date 2.9. We've got a little over, and we've got 3 months to go. How we figure that calculation for sales tax is you look at an average of the last 4 months. Take your last 4 quarters, and then you average it over 12 months. And that comes up what we use. And I will tell you, there's been years we've come up with that number, which is Comptroller's preferred method of doing things, and then we back off. Sales tax just has a history of up and down. Last couple of years, it's been good to us. But I'm hesitant to budget more than that 2.9 number, but the economic indicators, what they are going forward. Can you scratch me now? So that's a concern. There is a reserve to some degree. We're going to spend a significant part of this reserve on our capital, but under the circumstances, our reserve, I think, will still be above 35%. We're required to have 25 for the comptroller by Commissioner's Court policy that we've set years ago. We're required to have 35%. I think 35% is a sufficient number. Beyond that, I'm willing to go into that reserve for one-time projects. I can't fund employees out of the reserve, obviously, and raise it because it's not reoccurring. I don't have a reserve of income here. But if we're saying, hey, we needed a car this year, we needed this year, this expense, then yeah, I'm willing this year to go into that, understanding that, look, we have some unique circumstances. Inflation being as high as it is, the pressure on our employee base, because when you go out to the TA and get a job that starts at $18 an hour, I don't know that 80%, 85% of our clerks make less than that. Maybe 90% of our clerks make less than that. And when we're competing, how many of your deputies make less than that? When we're competing with private industry that can pay that and still provide some benefits, it's a very difficult environment for us. So what I said last year holds true. I believe this is the year that we need to make some decisions that what are we going to do to retain these employees? And the biggest thing is on this, most of these jobs are unique. I'm not saying it's only certain people who can do them, but most people don't walk off of the street with the skills and training necessary to run a corporate or the skills and training necessary to run proprietary software or the skills and training necessary to know everything about Cook County when it comes to law enforcement. That's training that we pay for. We use tax dollars to pay for that training. We use tax dollars to pay for those employees. And as we invest in those employees, if we can't keep them, we're throwing more money out. I don't believe there's any money wasted on education, don't get me wrong. But if we continue to say, okay, well, we can't have the money to raise their pay, and we'll just have this revolving rule, we're turning over 40% of our employees in a year, that training money didn't do us any good in the long run. We have to figure out a way to retain employees, and I think that means that we're going to have to look at what we can do competitively with our salaries. Do we go, I've had conversation with folks about salary consultants, and we did that several years ago. You know, you're talking $30,000 to $40,000 to bring somebody in at this point from that, just me doing inquiries, I don't have anything in writing, and some phone calls I've made. When you're only bringing in 375,000 anticipated in new revenue at this point, I can't spend 30 to 40 on an outside consultant. You can spend that on employees. I believe that as a group, 26 of us, and plus y'all, we are smart enough to figure out how to reallocate these funds in such a fashion that we can all, okay, it may not be everything we want, but it's an improvement, and movement in the right direction. I really want the budget that I have to file by the 30th of this month, the preliminary budget, to reflect on it. So I've done a lot of talking, forgive me, I just want you guys to know where I'm at and what challenges I see. And then if you have ideas, and when we meet those challenges, I want to know what it is you can do, try to improve things around here, retain employees.
I think we should establish a floor for pay, which is environment with a lot of people in. Just across the board and make it, you're not having employees and things. What we know is happening.
Yeah.
And we have to use some reserve funds for now.
I don't know about you guys, if I lost either of my clerks, you guys lost Foreman or they lost Jackson,
Yeah,
replacing that individual.
it'd be a choice.
So it will be. I'm pretty sure everyone will see that back. They had to replace some of their employees. It's just like starting. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's having to be, yes.
I don't know a single county employee that only works in here. I can't think of a single employee that just has one dedicated job, report coordinator and secretary. Or, you know, your emergency management plan administrator, or think of all the different things, all these hats we all wear, you know, larger municipalities, larger counties, they have the ability to go, okay, well, you are nothing more than a CSI investigator, that's all you do. Here, that's not the case, it's wherever you got to show up that day. Jackson will fly a drone one day, and the next day, I guess he's a dispatch coordinator, so that's awesome. But what I'm getting at is that it's right, that is the problem, is if it was just the same job description we had for an employee. But when you're a small county, you just kind of have a can-do attitude, make it work, and everybody wears several hats.
I don't disagree with what you said. I think advocating for pay, excellent idea. Having recently had to go through the process of finding a new clerk and getting them trained up and up to speed. I would really hate to lose my clerk, and I think other judges and everybody can agree with that. They are very underpaid for what they have to do. The conversation we just had before we came back from break was, you know, in a mass casualty situation, you know, your clerk may be called upon to come out with you because you need the extra, you need some help with that. It isn't just sit behind the desk and coordinate documents. No, there are a lot of tasks that get worn, and so I think we need to establish a pay for that represent all the responsibilities that one individual has, whether they work for the commissioner or if you're like whoever. I think it needs to.
I don't disagree with any of that. It's not figuring out how do we fund it, what level can we fund it, what do we set that at, what do we do with it? And what is, you know, everybody hopefully has a job description nowadays. You've been pretty good about rodeoing this for everybody to make sure that's the case. You know, are our job descriptions reflective of what our employees do? And I know a lot of us, we guilty of one or two other duties as assigned. We use that as a fallback. Maybe we need to better job description and do a little better. You can leave that in the bottom of it, but Really, what does your clerk do? What does my secretary do? You know, list those duties out, same thing, these individual offices. The next question is, you know, how do we define pay for office and job description? And everybody's gonna have to pay for their own people, and God bless you, you should do it. I mean, I get that. And so how do we say this is what this is what this is? And that was a very contentious matter the last time we did this. 10 years ago? Something like that, yeah. And again, I don't want the tension amongst our people. I'm gonna have a conversation. I want to know everybody that we're working in good faith here, to try to come to a solution. No one's gonna get everything they ask for. It's just not possible with the numbers. But I think working together, we can formulate a plan. We can do what we can do this year, and we need to commit to doing more next year. And I'm not talking 10-year plan, but that doesn't be around in 10 years, ain't go right. But what's it look like in a 2-year plan, a maximum of 3-year plan? What do we do to try to get this? Because this is going to be an ongoing problem for us. As we continue to grow, the outside market will continue to be able to move quicker on pay and pay better than us. And we will continue to lose employees. The only way to get ahead is to act now.
In the same spirit, I understand that we're actively recruiting on the time because we did lose employees. And we did need to establish a force to attracting people. I think our purpose this year, we need to intensify the effort for the employees that we have right now as well, because these are the people who have been in the trenches with us and who do have the experience in when we, as you mentioned, when we bring on new people, training them up, the costs of that, the human error that can occur, the dollars and cents, the time is so anything we can do to intensify the efforts to keep the people that we have and to help them like ourselves to be happy in our jobs. Because we are all paying for the same bread, their part, their needs, cost. So it's really gonna come down to you sort of reallocating funds and tightening our belts in areas so that our employees can be our main consideration this year.
It's the same thing with road and bridge. All our employees you don't learn the county roads and nicknames and dirty diaper bridge or mean woman road or.
You guys can just use the numbers.
Nobody remembers county road numbers. They just remember nicknames. And it takes time. You don't learn it in a year, do you, Trey? And it takes time, and employees we have, we're good at it, and you know, the employees are behind the commissioner. They're ahead of the commissioner. They know what to do. They need what they need to take care of. They look for things to fix and take care of. And it takes time. And if it wasn't for FM lateral, road and bridge, we couldn't do nothing. We had 8% divided 4 ways, and that our payroll is 3/4 of it. Okay, I say it every year. It doesn't do anything.
Well, you know, the things that are some hope at the moment, and again, I can get that dash against the rocks put in. Last December, I understand that the wind energy bill down here, the turbines came online, so that we get 3.5% plus new construction. That'll be new construction, and we have some supplements that come in over the year. I'm hoping that that is going to affect the overall. Know that this, from what I'm hearing initially, that appraised value is going to go up, which will force the tax rate back down. Again, we're limited to take 3.5% of new income absent new construction each year. So I don't know the full income picture yet. But you know,
What that come about?
by the 27th of this month, but in all honesty, we'll probably get it earlier. Mr. McKibben gets to us usually before August. But any ideas anybody has, any need you guys got, and everybody's got needs, I get it. Don't be afraid to go on, no matter if you think I can fund them or not. I don't want anybody to be afraid to point this out. It's not a political game, we should. I need to know what your real needs are. And I may not be able to meet all of them, but I could at least start making plans of what we're gonna do to meet those needs, or how we get from point A to point B.
Part-time preparing used to go to full time. She is getting, you know, we picked up. I want to say right at 100 signs in the week, 10 days ago. Built up. She gets. I don't know, what, 50 or 60 or more per month, maybe some months more than that.
Well, you know, that's one of those things, the same deal we made, Mrs. Wendy Hernandez, the IT person that we brought on, the deal, it worked out part-time, the commission agreed that we'd go full-time this next budget year, so we made that promise to go full-time as well.
And I know just peeling off all those little letters, that is.
That, you know, we had these plats go through court today, and I was in Paula's office, there's another stack of plats.
Oh, the job duties we've taken on in my office, just to, and I'm glad that it's helping out, but I never thought in 100 years, when my son's the county judge, I'm gonna do the plat review, I'm not an engineer. Thank goodness for Jesse and his assistants, we'd have a heck of a time with more than that. Thank goodness for the attorney's office, for the clerk's office, for everybody that comes together and does it. But you're right, there's new duties every day, and we're just trying to absorb them with what we got.
One of the potentials is why, maybe all of those houses. With good addresses, right now, we don't have 911 addresses in the counties.
Shaded subdivision, I presume that they will need to talk about paying for that.
Oh, they will, but I mean, but just making the every sign.
Administrative, but I would say, hey, here's the quote for, we're gonna call third party X, get them to make these signs. I mean, I don't know that we should be on the hook for an employee building signs for that.
And I think we need to raise that from 50 to 75 or 100, because the little sign itself, the little green sign is around $9. The pole that you put it on, I believe, is around $7, and then that vinyl that you put on, you'll get that away. So we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 in that sign. Karen has to drive out and GPS and do all that, and then us, well, the sheriff's department has to go back out and put it in the ground. And basically, you're running on the.
Are we starting our box?
Yeah. I think you need to go to it's my bill, but some people say, I mean, you know, we're not.
Yeah, we're not
making
making
any money.
No, you know, we've got to cover costs. We're not here to make money, but I agree. If our costs are actually $9,500, I mean, that fee needs to be reflective of what it's costing the county to get that done.
I think my guys have been doing it. I mean, they would be covered this morning and then go to Mount Tom and all across the county. One day they put 200 some miles in the
I ordered the post and the brackets for the signs here a few months ago,
Yes, sir.
and it was over $3,000 just for the brackets and posts.
But, well, these are things we can do about immediately, you know, that fee. We can take it in and either say, you know, the next commissioner's board, say, hey, either October 1 starts this, or September 1 starts this, or whatever. Those are good ideas, because those are things we can address now. It's not going to solve all the problems, but it's something we can address at the moment, to get it moving to the next budget year.
I'm in favor of the next meeting.
Oh, we got notes. Yes, sir.
We in the office as people that are. Part of the boss, attitude.
Yeah.
That's what I'm funded.
Yeah.
So.
And how do we manage our way out of it, you know, this question, because at one time we had, I don't know exactly, it was almost 7 digits in the overall PTO, you know. And we managed to get that down with some policy support, the runs brought forward, some of the things we've done. But the comp time is a situation, that's money hanging out there that we owe that we want paid. And it's how we manage our way through it. And the jail is particularly difficult. You have to have X number of people here at any given time. And if you've got to manage to it on the other side, you know, how many deputies you have on the street there, you know, and those questions, hey, now you guys can get. But buying it down is much I like to, financially feasible to do, just because the sheer amount of that number And one time we attempted to do it in the past before the current sheriff, and guess what happened next year? All that comp time showed right back up. So, we've got to come up with a policy and plan that we can put in writing, go, hey, this is how we're gonna move forward, this is what we're gonna hold everybody accountable to.
On the PTO, and we kind of got shut down with the years ago, but. Some employees have max of 180,
Correct, and it's fewer every year as those people retire off. But we make.
and that has to be a lot.
Mhm.
But I wonder, want to address that, at some point. Not the full 80, but just the overall.
We're 240 right now, right?
Yeah.
So 240, that's a month and a half, roughly. 6 weeks, 6 weeks, month and a half.
So when I worked at most of it was kept away the city during their weekends, vacation. And 1.5 times. That depending on, let's say, if you start off here 2 weeks, you can only bank, you can only accumulate. If you didn't use it, you lost. But the responsibility is to put it back on.
On PTO, yeah, but on comp, we have.
Well, it's all I think the better. On
PTO comp.
comp.
See, we used to have a max, pretty sure, but the sheriff, we have a max, taking the bike on the.
That's control. And put more on the different, departments within the city to manage their time to keep that under control. So say, hey, you're gonna have to take off for you just to make it where they're not paying out overtime.
I'll be right back. I've got to get something from this attorney real quick. I'll be right back. Go ahead, continue discussion.
It's just, I think, moving more on their management to make sure that you keep those hours going and lower where you're not. And sometimes it's inevitable, we know that you can let people walk over to stay in control. That money, which is good.
I'm gonna get y'all attention when Larry said that, because Larry, we said a lot. We went to our conference here last 2 weeks ago, and everybody was just baffled that his deputy covers all precincts. Everybody just thought that was the craziest thing, and a lot of times it's the bigger county where egos can take over, and you have issues there, and so like. That position there is what it's way to go as far as us, and it makes it where we can schedule classes. We can take a family trip, we can step away if we need to for a little bit, and it's taken care of. The employee stuff is spot on. I don't have an employee, but I wish I could help everyone because it's. The sheriff's office, I watch them struggle all the time with deputies. If they have one that goes out sick, there's been times where Scott's even called us to help with, transport somebody. The employee situation period is rough, but on the law enforcement side, it's even rougher because say he has an employee that goes out, I think you just had one recently that she went to the hospital. Got to find somebody immediately. They just can't say we don't have person to put out there for the citizens. It's a struggle on our side just because there's so much more that they're committed to that the public is part of making sure all our enforced things taken care of appropriately as well. Kyle and I have phenomenal in our offices.
It's gonna be that situation. And there's other papers to me, the running start sheet, and you'll be looking at the day, like 2 weeks ago. Justin got a 20 there. It's, so, trying to get them started. Timely matter, because we all try to stay on top there, getting done as soon as we can, and it's 21 days, and we're going to party before, so. Kyle's been a huge asset for all of us. Like I said, when we go out and tell them, or, we'll take it during vacation. I don't have to worry about calling our good and letting everybody know, hey, I'm gonna be going, but back to this. Showcase story, that he's been with, sort of college, and then step in. And take care of it, so that's very good.
That's a hard part of the younger population, you can when you're there, that work-life balance. You know, I work 60 hours a week, and that's okay. I'm good with that. It's better than the 30 hours, getting 100 hours a week. But that's something that the economy does. It's not always you people that we're seeing nowadays. They expect to work for 40 and you go, no. And then when we're asking these people above and beyond with multiple hats, multiple job titles and work hours, get on that or just not. And then we can't let them off to take comp time, that's a problem. It's a work-life imbalance. And that's not conducive to us retaining employees. If we're, every time somebody goes home, we're calling them back in the middle of the night, hey, we got this problem, you need to do with this. That just wears people down to a nub and pretty quick to looking for somewhere else. They want to work for less, start with, and now shutting down. I can't go with this.
Well, the fourth thing today is not very good.
So, yes, sir.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think we're all agreeing that our employees will be paid. I think that, there really isn't been a lot of argument and getting created and paid for or something like that. I guess I don't know anything about the overall county budget to say, hey, this is where we might find some room. If there's anything I can do with my line, I'm just to help with this issue. I'm more than willing to talk with folks, but I guess we can the next slide is where do we go from here? Where do we talk?
So you've come to the natural conclusion of my argument today, which is I have X number of new dollars coming in. I have X number of existing dollars. I have X number of resources. And somewhere the spend diagram has to overlap and make all this work. That being said, I know that we all want slim and trim. No one's got a lot of extra patties. But if you look into your budget and go, that's $5. If you cut $5, it don't seem like a lot of money. $10 isn't a lot of money. But $10 across $20 it becomes $250 like that. And it gets bigger. Big things that are taking up part of the budget that I don't see next year getting better, but the year after. Construction, we ran our capital plan early. It took 15 years of work and we're going forward. That's good, but it also takes additional resources. I think once we get rid of the Franklin Street Annex, which that is, I got to talk to you about this afterwards. I got something pointed out yesterday afternoon and I didn't anticipate. And then we get the new building, that's going to cut down the maintenance cost overall in the courthouse for several years. That's going to free up some there. Our construction budgets will go down because we've had considerable amount of construction. Obviously, not all of this is paid for through insurance funds, but not all of it. We've been paying out through Joe Biden ARPA funds or other things, but there's also tax dollars that go in it as well, oil tax dollars. I'm seeing some of that coming to an end, so hopefully we can lower those and reallocate that money elsewhere. But the question is, where in each of our individual budgets can we find something? Most of us, not a whole lot, pop that 100, 500, wherever I can, I'm training in my, because I get most of my training paid for now, since I'm on the education committee for the state association for the judges. I can cut that stuff back. I have previously, I'll do some more. It's just no one is going to have one big amount. No one out there's got, this big number. Everybody's got a little number. And together, it may not, individuals doesn't seem like a lot. Together, it becomes. And so I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not saying anybody's spending more than they should. They are. Almost every elected official we've got, every elected official, almost everyone, has returned some form of money at the end of the year. Our bottom line balance wouldn't be this good if it wasn't for y'all. It's just fact. We wouldn't have a reserve if it wasn't for the elected and appointed officials managing their budgets efficiently and productively. Again, even with that being said, we do have income constraints. So if there's an agreement, we need to do things to employees. I agree. I don't disagree. Now I just got to figure out where that money comes from, what it looks like, what can we do within our means. So I appreciate the conversation. I continue to improve these. From now on, we're going to have budget workshops at the end of our commissioner's reports. Obviously, we're getting the April timeframe. New software has me scared to death. Usually I have something in front of me that looks like a budget, but we're getting there. It looks good. It's just, if you guys have needs or wants, you don't want to talk about it publicly, that's okay. I'm being private. Again, I will listen to any request and I'll take it under consideration. And if I say, sorry, I can't do it, please don't, it's not a personal issue at all. It's a matter of, I have to balance resources. And then anything I put in is always just my proposed budget. After that, the commissioners get it and they can, do what they need to it. So there's a second. But if you've got ideas, and even then concern others, come talk to me. I'm not going to go say, hey, you told me about this, y'all. That's not what I do. It's just, I need as much input as I can get going forward this year because we have more challenges when it comes to employer retention, and we identified a time here and we really need to act on it this year.
Once Steve done when it's not. Even in terms of this budget year. But the juvenile justice system is literally at crisis level right now. The Texas Juvenile Justice Department has closed its doors to do their business because they don't have the staffing. To take on new business. We have a kid and the detention facility out the road right now. He's already been there for months, gonna be there for many more months. I'm proceeding to. Because we can't get them to we're on with the money up front, it's supposed to be marked. But. I'll be interested to see what the legislative session does next year. I think you're gonna keep seeing a more emphasis on us keeping kids locally. And my philosophy as a juvenile prosecutor again has been to get rid of problem kids and get them out of the community for as long as we can. Take my ability to do that as one being hampered by the state, and I don't think we will ever be able to afford our own detention center going forward. We're gonna have to adjust how we deal with dealing with offenders locally and it's a possibility. So I just want to plant that seed because it's coming.
This has been a trying to do some kind for about 10 years now since they've been buying through licensing. The state has advocated its duty when it comes to juveniles. They push more and more off the money as well. They're cutting the budget, saving the tax dollars, and they're just pushing to us to. I don't know how much money the governor this last year allocated away from juvenile justice to the border serve program. But that was money that was needed by those people who previously could have cut their legislation and they took the further cut. Because good, but the governor used his prerogative to move that money away. And I can't do anything about that, but I want everybody to know that winds up in your shoulders locally. When the governor does some things like that, and they take money away from needed resources, it moves it away from us. You know, and I think 10 years ago, you pointed out when they made they joined Texas Youth Commission along with probation. This was going to end poorly for us. Yeah, it is.
Speaking with the juvenile that had a stolen car, the black officers, state released him like 5 days previously. 2 days. He here for you. And not only does he get put in the facility for that, but when he gets released from there, he ends up stealing another one. And they end up chasing him all over Waco. He's not innocent. Well, I'm just, that's a prime example of the state, though.
It's a felony number 2,
But you know, you got these kids coming out of these facilities that the state's keeping them out, saying you're the makeup monitor. These kids, I mean,
they care less about that.
I've even found some of our own probation kids at football games. They'll tell you all you have to do is not charge your ankle monitor and show them that they're not at home. And so they're figuring out all these ways around these ankle monitors and home restrictions. It's great.
I was gonna say that we have, I mean, you're able to look at your budget on info online now. And you can get with Philip and I on that. We have limited users and we got comms going. We're getting the kinks out of it. Trying to set that up. So if anybody's interested.
Yeah, we fell off because of a few bumps in it and didn't want to put the mass mailer out and then you go, this doesn't even work.
So we're still working very, things to make sure that you can see all the activity behind the show accounts and stuff.
But as soon as we had that, everybody can get access to it. Every other appointed official when you have access to the budget in the system. Just got a couple of my
Fighting for fixed Tom's problem yesterday. They have to make some upgrades to the cloud system that we can't.
what for that?
Right to show the vendor name, they want to see what vendor was paid, they can see the expense category, but it gives a vendor number, not a vendor name.
So that's not on us, that's actually on Encode? To make it under,
Yes.
I didn't realize that, okay.
Yes,
We are literally on this rollout.
As usual.
So, yeah, we've been getting significant amount of requests, I know predictions. Every time we meet, and she's really, can you change this, and move that?
It's getting there.
But it's good.
We're not giving the ESD1 any money, okay? I didn't want to hear it from this time.
go ahead.
They do a lot.
Look at it and then make. Feedback.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Well, Nicole's freezing to death. Has anybody else got anything? I actually, that's how we're gonna save money, actually. We're gonna turn the temperature up. I don't know who put it back at Judge Harris level. That's not. Everybody's full room, literally like it's a cooking shop, and freeze to death. Who says it's? Okay, well,
We're supposed to keep the meeting competitive this long, but it wasn't.
is that like a drunk tank? You don't have to be here. Read that picture, frames and seats. I said that out loud. Okay, so anyway, there will be needs, there will be requests, bring them forward, let's look at it, see what we can do, and we'll work together to figure it out, continue to have these conversations, you got other elected people that aren't in the room today, appointed, they come to you with questions, great, send them to us, we want to hear from them, we really do. So, that being said, I don't have anything for the budget workshop at this time, Susan, you're good?
Make a motion, adjourn.
Motion second, stand